I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Here.
Councilman McCarthy.
Here.
Councilman Wareheim.
Here.
Councilwoman Noack.
Here.
Councilwoman Inzarello.
Here.
Good evening. This is the public hearing on the 2017 preliminary budget for the town of Smithtown. Anybody wish to be heard on this budget? No, we'll move on. The town board to approve the following adoption of amendments to the 2017 preliminary budget. Establishment of a capital reserve fund for open space preservation, effective January 1st, 2017. Establishment of a capital reserve fund for sewer reserve fund, effective January 1st, 2017. Roll call.
Councilwoman Inzarello.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack.
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes.
This is the adoption of the amendments. Adoption of the amendments.
Okay.
2017, yeah. Just carry that.
We will now hopefully pass a resolution which will add $63,000 to this budget. And the rationale for the amendment is that when compiling the budget, a scrivener's errors occurred, and that $63,000 was not included in the printed budget. So we'll move that as a resolution now.
Adoption of the amendments to the 2017 preliminary budget?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarello.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack.
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes. One person wants this to be heard, sure. Two. Carl Walls.
Good evening, town board members. I'm here tonight to talk about the salary increases in the budget for the town board members, town council members, as well as the deputy, as well as the interim superintendent of highways, and the tax receiver and the town clerk. I understand that they probably have not received an increase in quite a long time, but 20% of your current salary, to me, is a little ludicrous. I mean, $50,000, you make over $50,000, and now you're getting a $10,000 increase in 1 year. And you're the ones voting on it. And if you don't vote on it, it gets made law anyhow.
Say
And
that
fur-
again. If they don't vote on it, what happens?
It gets made law. I mean, if you don't vote on it by a certain date, it becomes a permanent budget. The proposed budget becomes a permanent budget for the year.
Yes, correct.
And also, I mean, if you're gonna give the town council members $10,000 each, why don't you equate that somehow with the town tax receiver and the town clerk, who are only getting $2,500 a year? And I feel that's very biased, because Mr. Vecchio, in the past, you have said you want those two positions abolished as elected positions.
Yes.
So, I mean, are they being punished because they're in that position?
The answer to your question is no.
Well, then why doesn't everybody get $5,000 to
Okay.
make it even? Because if I personally was the town clerk and the tax receiver, I do my 40 hours a week or whatever it is, and now the town council is getting $7,500 more than me. I don't think it's very fair.
On the contrary, the council still makes less than the tax receiver and the clerk.
Okay, and then furthermore, Mr. McCarthy's getting an extra $35,000 a year as,
Yeah.
as deputy supervisor. Where are the records that show he deserves $35,000 a year as deputy supervisor? I mean, is there a clear-cut delineation between deputy supervisor duties and councilman duties?
Yes, there is.
Is that public record?
Yes, there is.
Okay,
The law provides for the appointment of a deputy supervisor.
I understand that.
Allow me to finish. Don't be argumentative. I want to
Okay.
answer your questions, and
Okay,
I'm smiling.
Okay,
And a deputy supervisor is there to replace the supervisor in his absence.
okay.
Okay?
And also.
So as you well know, you see me you've seen me walking with
Yeah,
a cane.
I understand. I
I
understand.
fractured my leg this summer while I was hospitalized. Mr.
I understand it,
He
because I've seen it
assumed my
on,
duties.
I saw it on video that you, that
But
you
you know
were
what
here.
people don't, you know, I don't know that you ought to, I want to find the right word here. Well, justify, if you will, and that's not the word I want, the councilman's salaries. They are going to vote on this budget tonight. This budget costs $103 million.
I understand.
There's a responsibility that they have, a fiduciary responsibility to run this town and to do the work of the budget.
Well, I understand that, but I'm just saying, I think, it should be fairly spaced out
Oh, I see what you mean.
between, the gap difference is a little bit substantial.
Yes,
And also furthermore, I feel in January, when you come up with your meeting list, the meetings in July, August, and December should be made nighttime meetings, not daytime meetings. Because 90%, I would say, probably 90% of the people in this town have to work to live in this town.
Okay,
and
Mr.
cannot
Walls,
make
let's stop there.
Cannot make a daytime meeting.
we want you to speak toward the budget.
Well,
That's superfluous, thank you. Tim Walls,
That was him.
no, that was Carl.
I'm sorry.
Good evening, Town Board. I'm here to talk on town codes,
it's town code.
okay?
You have to talk to the budget. That's all you can talk to is the budget. It's a budget hearing. Nobody wishing to be heard on the budget, I'll move to close the hearing on the budget.
Second.
Supervisor.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack.
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella.
Yes.
Okay. Were you heard, Tim?
No, it's about town code.
Okay. Well, I'll move to close the hearing on the budget.
Second.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack.
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella.
Now, you wish to be heard on another matter?
Yes.
Okay.
Tommy wants to know if you want to adopt the budget.
Good evening, Town Board. I'm here to talk about town codes, especially your 322-16, which your public safety and your building department do not know what the town code is. I had to go to David Flynn to get a letter to referring about your 322-16 on a resident in the neighborhood, okay? He's in violation since 2013. No one's done anything. Lynn told me, look the other way back in June, okay? And Mr. McCarthy, you were taking care of this problem. You haven't called me back.
Well, it's been turned in, so you know, it's been turned over to public safety and town attorney, and the investigators are totally in the process of doing the investigation by aerial and by ground both.
Okay, and I went to talk to you, and I talked to Ed Wareheim about another problem. He tied back his bushes, can't see. I would like a town code be put in place, any shrubs, bushes, anything 10 feet back from fence, 10 feet back from the curb. Not from the property, not from the street, from the curb. Okay? I always can't hit today from another neighbor who has bushes right out to the edge of the curb line. And something needs to be done, not tied back, and that,
There is a town code.
well, then you
Allow me
guys,
to finish before you start yelling. First of all, I shouldn't even let you be heard. This is a hearing on a budget, not on any other matter. Now, just listen to me. There is a town code that establishes, so I may be incorrect on the footage, 75 feet diagonally from the center of the intersection to the curb line. If there's an offending fence or bushes or what have you, they have to be removed.
yeah, I know that, I understand that, but this is a driveway. Or meant to grass, by a driveway, coming up, can't see. I
So,
went in on 2 weeks.
so are you asking us to implement a town code law that eliminates obstructions on the driveway entrance?
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking
Or,
for?
or 10 feet back, doesn't matter where on your property, 10 feet back from your
All
curb
right,
line
okay.
to 10 feet back from the curb
The
line.
town attorney is here, he will study that matter, and if he thinks we should do that, town board...
Because he told me to write a letter to you, Supervisor Vecchio, and that's what I'm here for tonight.
Okay. Thank you. Nobody wishes to be heard, I'll move to close. You have, you had your 3 minutes of fame, you know.
That was on the budget.
Okay. Well, that's the end of, the
No.
hearing on the
No,
budget, the hearing
because-
on the budget is closed.
It says, yes, number 1 on your town agenda says the budget hearing. Number 3 says public hearing. To me, the public hearing is
All right.
for any...
Okay, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm here about code enforcement, that they don't know the code. I mean, you call up for people parked illegally in St. James on Lake Avenue, and they ask the make and model of the car. You tell them. You go back later, the car's still there. You call public safety. Oh, it's the prerogative of the officer to give a ticket. Either they're in violation or they're not in violation. There's no two ways around it. It's like, you know, I'm going in to steal a piece of candy. Either I do it or I don't do it. Either the person's in violation of parking or they're not in violation of parking. Furthermore, when your inspectors come and you ask them to see it in the code, they can't prove it to you because they don't have the code. They don't have the code. So personally, I think there should be a library system down at public safety or in the building department where you take out a specific book with the code, you go to the homeowner, here it is in black and white. And furthermore, to what my brother was saying earlier, the town has had visual aerial reconnaissance or whatever you call it from Mr. Flynn, who drew it on a map, on a Google map, that is 75-foot code. And it has not been done, and numerous times, my brother and myself have almost been hit by the people driving up and down the road because you cannot see. And Mrs. Nowick said, oh, it's nice, she's cleaning up the neighborhood, until somebody gets killed. Then when the town...
Excuse me, who's cleaning up the neighborhood?
Because the homeowner, you said, it makes the neighborhood nice.
I have no
Yes.
idea what you're saying.
Yeah, back in June.
My brother, Timmy, be quiet. My brother has been through this
Okay.
for over 3 years and
Okay.
nothing's been done.
Okay.
That's why I think code enforcement is a useless department, because you people don't want to enforce the codes. I think it's a waste of money.
Okay, thank you. What do we do with these? Unfortunately, I forgot to read these two resolutions that set up two reserve funds. There's establishment of a capital reserve fund for sewer reserve fund, which will take effect on January 1st. And there was a reserve fund established for open space acquisition, and that's also effective January 1st, 2017. So you can take the vote on both.
Okay, you ready? Yes. Councilwoman Inzarello?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim? Yes. Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Okay, that concludes the budget presentation. I'll move to close the hearing. Again,
Supervisor Vecchio?
yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim. Councilwoman Noack.
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarello.
Yes.
Would the board approve a motion? I want to ask you to adopt the budget as heard.
And with the,
Anybody have a
and with the
problem with doing
amendments.
that?
Yes, I second that.
So I'll move to adopt the budget as heard this evening.
Yes, with the amendments, yes.
Okay.
Councilwoman Inzarello.
I'd just like to say, Supervisor Vecchio, I would like to speak on this motion. The supervisor prepared and submitted a very good budget that holds the line on taxes and yet provides the high level of services expected by our residents. Therefore, I fully support this motion and plan to vote for the budget. However, at this time, because I have not served as long as my colleagues on this town board, I will not be accepting the raise for the councilwoman's position.
Thank you. Okay, now you can move the closing of the budget.
Call the rest of the vote.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Inzarello. Councilwoman Noack.
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes. Good evening, all.
Close.
Move to close the meeting tonight.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack.
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarello.
Yes.